สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. Today we are going to make yet another weeknight friendly dinner. We are going to make something called pad phet. Now more specifically, we're making pad phet gai because we're making it with chicken. So here's your Thai lesson as per usual. Pad means to stir fry and phet means spicy. But what it really means is a stir fry that uses red curry paste as the main flavor. So we're gonna go through the ingredients and then we're gonna get started, but I really wanted to introduce you to this dish because it is so flexible. It's one of those dishes that you can really exercise your creative brain muscle and change out different things, different herbs, different ingredients, and create something that's quite unique. So let's look at our ingredients. The most important thing, of course, is red curry paste. Now I'm just using store-bought today. You can make your own if you're feeling hardcore. 2 to 3 tablespoons. You can use more, you can use less, depending on how spicy you want it. And then I also have a little bit of fish sauce. I'm only using half a teaspoon for this. And I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I say this every time. When you're cooking with curry paste, watch how much fish sauce you add because there usually is salt already in there. Always leave some room for adjustment and taste and adjust at the end. Okay? These interesting looking things, if you've seen my fish pad cha recipe, you remember this is krachai or finger root. Now finger root is a rhizome, grows underground just like ginger and galangal, and it's about the size of your finger. That's why it's called finger root. I didn't have any fresh ones today. I've got some ones that are brined in a jar, glass jar like this. If you can't find it, this is what's great about pad phet. You don't have to have it, okay? You can leave it out and it'll still be delicious. And then I've got these things which are young peppercorns. So this is what black and white peppercorns used to be before they end up at the shaker beside your table. So they come in a stem like this, also brined in a glass jar. There are fresh ones, I didn't have any. Here's the jar. Okay, that's what it looks like at the store. I like to cut them so they're not so big and they don't look like random creatures creeped into your food. And then for some of them, I picked off the corns so that as you're eating, you get bursts of heat, and it's the peppery heat. It's different from chili heat. It actually feels like hot, like temperature of your mouth is rising. So then I've got some liquid, something to make it rich and luscious. So I've got some coconut milk divided into 2 measures. I've also got what is this called? Bai makrut. It's gonna come to me. Kaffir lime leaves, that's right. Julienne kaffir lime leaves, very, very fine. Now, this might look like a lot of herbs. Again, this is a very flexible dish. If all you had was red curry paste, make it anyway, it'll be fine, okay? And then we've got some sugar, a little sweetness to cut the salt and the spiciness in the curry paste. Chopped palm sugar. You can also just use regular granulated sugar or brown sugar if you don't have it on hand. Again, flexibility. Next, we've got our vegetable. I'm using sugar snap peas, okay? I cut them like this, and I'll show you how I got there in a minute. Sugar snap peas are not actually traditional or common. It just happens to be what was available to me, and I love the way it tastes in this dish. The common vegetables, if you want to go traditional, are Thai eggplant, slice them into thin wedges, pea eggplant, or long beans. Those are the more common ones. Sometimes if pad phet is made with fish, they don't add any vegetables. If you're going to be creative with the choice of vegetables, choose something that's crunchy so that it'll give your dish a bit of a textural variety. So sugar snap peas work really well. Now, next, pop of red. Okay, we want some nice bright chunks of red stuff. So I'm using tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, which I have discovered they are delicious with red curry. If you've never had the combination of cherry tomatoes and red curry, you should try it. You can also just use red bell peppers or anything red, or you don't have to add it at all. Almost finally, you've got some Thai basil. You can use holy basil. That's sometimes an option as well. And our protein. Today we're going to use chicken. I'm using chicken thigh because I took a poll on Facebook if people preferred dark meat or white meat, and I think dark meat came in first. So that's what we're going with today. And I just cut them into thin bite-sized pieces. You can use chicken breast for this, absolutely no problem. I'm just going to put my half a teaspoon of fish sauce that we talked about in there and give it a toss. And usually I just do this before I start cutting my vegetables and let it, a mini marinade session. Okay, and that is pretty much all we need. We're gonna get cooking. Before we start cooking, I forgot I was going to tell you about the sugar snap peas. The one important thing about these, many of you already know, is you got to peel off the tough string that runs along the spine. What you have to do is find the blunt end, and that's, this is the pointy end, this is the blunt end. I know it may be hard to tell in the beginning. And you just snap off the top, and then you just pull down, and then the stringy bit will come down. If you only get one side, that's okay. You'll sometimes get this side that comes along with it. What you're worried about is just this part. And then there you go, that's trash. So same thing with this one, you just snap off the top and then pull down, and there we go, that's a stringy bit. And this is really uncomfortable to eat. It's like, chewing on thread. So you want to make sure you do that. This is very slippery and smooth, and it's not very good for sauce adherence. So I like to cut them in half, but in a very sharp bias, so that this opens it up so sauce can go and wedge themselves in there, and it's a comfortable piece per, for each mouthful. Now we are really ready to get started. Now I just want to note that I combined all the ingredients that are going in together, and that makes it easy. And in our case, it is the sugar snap peas and all your herbs, the kaffir lime leaves, the gachai, and the young peppercorns, okay? It just makes life a lot easier when you don't have to think about what's going in the pan, and meanwhile stuff is burning. Okay, so I've got a little bit of oil in this pan just to get it started. I'm going to turn it on just on medium heat. Curry paste can burn pretty easily if the heat is too high, so you want to make sure it is medium. You can always turn it up, but turning it down might be too late. Okay, I'm going to add my curry paste. You don't have to wait for it to get hot. Mix it with the oil. Oh, we don't have the vent turned on, so it's gonna get spicy here. As it's getting hot, as it's starting to sizzle, you're gonna go in with the coconut milk and get that mixed in, and that's gonna make it easier. It won't be too lumpy. Okay, and also go in with the sugar at this point so it can start, it can start dissolving. Now you're gonna cook and reduce down the coconut milk until this is thick. Now if you can see the edges of the curry paste, oil is starting to bubble and sort of seep out around the edges. That's a cue that you're ready to go in with your chicken or whatever protein you're using. Now you're gonna get that mixed up just until the chicken is separated and the outside is starting to cook. By the way, you don't have to use coconut milk for this. This dish you can also use just stock, chicken stock, and make a lighter version of pad thai. So the coconut milk is actually optional. Now chicken's sort of like separated now, there's no pieces sticking together. We're gonna go in with the other measure of coconut milk. I mentioned earlier that this is a very flexible dish, and one of the things that's flexible about this is the amount of sauce. Sometimes it's very dry, sometimes there's actually quite a bit of liquid surrounding it. It's completely up to you. And the amount of sauce is controlled, obviously, by the amount of liquid that you add throughout this. So I always like to have a thing of water at arm's reach while I'm doing any kind of stir fry. They come in really handy. Now you're gonna get this until the chicken is 80% done. Okay, once you get here, you're gonna go in with your bowl of herbs. And you're gonna toss that until the chicken is 100% done, and also the sugar snap peas are done to your liking, kind of al dente type thing. If you're using a vegetable that takes a long time to cook, you might want to add them earlier than this. Okay, now we're pretty much done. I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit because it's going crazy. And then I'm going to toss in my tomatoes at this point, or whatever red things you're using. Just give it a quick toss. You don't want to cook the tomatoes too long, and they'll mush. And then I'm going to turn it off. It smells good and it looks good. I know. Oh my god. A lot of Thai basil. It looks like a lot, but it always works out to be perfect. Okay, and just toss that until it's wilted. Oh, by the way, if you're doing this for the first time, before you go and add all your basil and everything, give it a taste. See if it needs a little more fish sauce. I've done this before. I know it doesn't need more fish sauce. And that's another thing. If you're going to increase the amount of curry paste that you use, bear in mind that's increasing the amount of salt at the same time. So if you're gonna make it spicier, you're automatically making it saltier. Something to watch for with the fish sauce measurements. And that's it. It's ready to plate. Wow. And this, traditionally, it's served with rice, but last night I tossed it in with some pasta and it was surprisingly really good. So you might want to try that. You can serve this with quinoa. You can put this in a wrap. A taco. Pat pit taco. Ooh, what a great idea. Always clean the edges for nice presentation. That looks good. And I'm also going to garnish it a little bit with some Thai basil on top. Ta-da! Doesn't that look good? And that was so easy, so fast. Again, don't be intimidated by all the exotic herbs. If you can't find them, if you've just got red curry paste and that's all you have, you can make this anyway. Okay, let's try it. I don't know if you can hear that. The sugar snap peas are super crunchy still, and that's what you're going for. There's nothing worse than wilty, soggy sugar snap peas. So much flavor, such an explosion of flavor in your mouth. Again, I'm using a couple of untraditional vegetables just to tell you that you work with what you've got, work with what's seasonal, what's available. And when you try this out, show me what you've got, show me what you've done, what you used. And the recipe for this will be, as always, on hotthaikitchen.com. If you enjoy the show, please click to subscribe. And oh, don't forget Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on those, so come say hi. And I will see you next time for your next delicious Thai meal.